Hey family, welcome to the Love You More show. Excited that you decided to join us. Do me a favor, before we even get started, make sure that you subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you can be informed on new episodes that come out every single week. Here's the thing, I need you to watch this entire interview because at the end of the interview, I got a special offer for you that I'm sure you want to be a part of. Now, it's time for the Love You More show. Flat out.
Next on the Love You More show.
Will there ever be a Friday tour? Is that something that you will ever consider?
What?
Well, Friday with you in it.
I was raised, in church as a Christian, Church of God in Christ. I use everything to my advantage, and the best investment I ever did was trust in God and use my spirituality. And thank God for my moms and my father taking me to church as a kid, because so I got to a certain point that I always want to get better and better. So with my stand-up and everything, I always want to perfect it. So when I told people I wasn't cussing as much, it was me studying myself, saying I don't want to be like every other comedian and have a cussing word every 2 seconds.
Right.
I want to be the funniest, one of the funniest comedians. My reward is when people, I heard Barbara Streisand say that about like award shows. Her reward is not winning an Oscar or winning a Golden Globes. It's when the people say, I really like that part you did.
Love you more.
Hey family, Willie Moore Jr. here. So grateful and thankful for everybody who's tuned in. Family, listen, can I be honest with you? We've now gone over 155,000 subscribers in such a short time. That just letting me know that God in this thing and you feeling it in your sha-na-na. Come on, somebody. Family, listen, I have heard so many great comments and I want to challenge you to get in the comment section. Leave your comments. I do my best to read every single one. And of course, please subscribe to the channel because they'll let me know that you're just not creeping, you just really locked into the show. Shout out to all of our guests for being a part. The Bible declares that we are to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And many times the truth is we can't love our neighbor because, to be honest, we haven't taken the time to learn how to love ourselves more. And so this show has been designed to make sure that you understand that you're important too. Okay, like at the end of the day, you pour and you give out to so many people, whether it's your children, your wife, your husband, your job, but oftentimes you are the last person on the list. So we want to make sure that you understand that you got to put that oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. And you have to choose to love you more. All right, family, the man who's hanging out with me today is not only a dear brother, a dear friend, but of course he is an icon, not only in comedy, but also for his decision making, his choices. And I just thank God that I get the privilege of calling him brother. Of course, you've seen Rush Hour. Of course, you've seen Friday. And of course, you've been to his shows as he does stand up all around the world. The one and only Chris Tucker is hanging out with your nephew. What's going on, Chris?
What's up, Willie?
Man, I'm so glad to have you here. Man, it's always an honor when I get a chance to hang out with greatness.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
This show is literally designed. It's the Willie Moore Jr. show, kind of after dark. I was sitting down with so many people having these interviews with them, and we'll sit there and we be talking, and they be like, "Cut!" and just go. We got 30 seconds. I said, you know what? We got to get a chance for the audience to be able to know them outside of what they do, and so this is what it's designed for. And we like to open up our show with music. And so I want you to take your attention to the screen, hear this music. The name of the song is called Turning Point. Check this out. When I left that church, my life had changed forever. I realized that moments quickly become memories. So it's important that you spend great moments with your loved ones because you just don't never know. Speaking of loved ones, I was getting picked up by one of my favorite but not so favorite uncles, Uncle G. I mean, he old school, drive a Cadillac, hat to the back, and he knock-kneed as hell, but he's still a good guy. He sometimes joke too quick, but the truth is, he's exactly what I needed during this time to bring me back to earth. He walks up and he says, "Oh, you all right, son?" I'm like, "It's tough." He continues, "I know it, but it's a part of life." He says, "Don't worry about a thing, he's in a better place." That's true. You know I'm crazy, right? I don't know why they say in a better place, he in a box. But you see, I got you laughing already. Laughter is healing for the soul. No matter what it is, laugh it off. Keep laughter in your life no matter what you do, okay? Now get your punk ass in the car. What? Get your ass in the car, Junior. Wow.
See, a lot of people don't understand the game, you know what I'm saying? There's no stability in this, dog. All you living off of is a dream, you know what I'm saying? If people don't buy your music, you don't eat, man. So it do get hard for you sometimes, you heard me? I'm gonna tell you though, for real. Steady striving for stardom, wanted fortune and fame. On my face I'm smiling, in my heart is pain.
I believe we all get tested, go through hell to get our blessings.
I promise at times I wanna break down.
No one understands me.
This time I'm going up, ain't going back down.
If you believe it will be.
Taking proper precautions, times is getting harder. Do what we gotta do to feed our sons and daughters. You wanted a survivor, then you got your one. You just told me to claim it, and that's all I done.
Living in my city street, nobody cares for me.
Oh, oh.
Somebody pray for me, cause I got a destiny.
Oh, oh, oh.
I'm just a man with a dream, striving for the finer things.
Oh, oh.
But this is my turning point.
I'm getting everything I want. The world on
The name of the song is Turning Point. And that's why I want to talk to you about, Chris, because
That's hot, man. Wait a
Thank
minute.
you.
That's hot, Willie.
Come on, Chris.
Throw that on me, man, and ain't gonna talk about it, man.
Chris, I'm
that's
trying-
all. That's all the chain. Can I rap on the end of it?
you got it.
I just want to do a little rap on the end of it. I came up with it right now.
You ain't got but 8 bars.
Nah, that's beautiful, man.
Chris, like, so the song is Turning Point. And, you know, we see you as, at this particular time, it's Chris Tucker, Friday, smoking, drinking, and then all of a sudden, Chris is like, I've turned a new leaf. Like, what was that turning point like for you when seemingly the world is at your fingertips and everybody has something to offer you at this point, but you choose to take a strong stance for your faith? Like, what was that transition like for you?
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't know. Yeah, I'm a perfectionist. And when I reach a certain level, I want to go to the next level. So when in Hollywood, you know, with everything I've done, well, back then, from Def Jam, did it great. And it took me to touring, and then took me to give me opportunity to get in movies and stuff. I did a little small part in House Party 3, and I had about a minute, 2 minutes to do my thing. That got me an agent. And then from there, I started getting co-starring roles. I got Fridays, and then I think I got a few other ones, and then Rush Hours. So I got to a certain point that I always want to get better and better. So with my stand-up and everything, I always want to perfect it. Mm-hmm. So when I told people I wasn't cussing as much, it was me studying myself, saying I don't want to be like every other comedian and have a cussing word every 2 seconds. Right. I want to be the funniest, one of the funniest comedians. Yeah. So I was cutting down the cussing because I wanted the comedy to come up front, and all the profanity and stuff that's secondary if it happened at all. Yeah. So people misunderstood that and said I wasn't cussing anymore, which is fine. I just let them think whatever, because I think, well, that's good, because my whole thing is always getting better and better and better. So, and I was raised, in church as a Christian, Church of God in Christ. I use everything to my advantage. And the best investment I ever did was trust in God and use my spirituality. And thank God for my moms and my father taking me to church as a kid, because that helped me use my spirituality instead of you thinking I'm gonna know everything. I'm gonna figure everything out, because none of this stuff I've ever done has been planned. It all happened. Doors open after I did one thing and prayed about it. God opened up another door after that, and He opened up another door after that. And then I realized I can only take myself so far, and that was to the top. That was to the top of Hollywood. I was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. I was asking for $20 million and getting it, $25 million and getting it, but I wanted better roles and better things. And I was like, God, whatever. And I wanted to also do great stories, not just make a whole bunch of money. Right. So I was like, I need to get out in the world and get some life experiences, and then come back and do great roles and do great stories that I like, that I would, I think that, the world would like and my fans would like. And, just take my time. But that takes a lot of faith and trusting in God. But that's the best investment I ever did, because I think right now it's like I just started my career. It's like I'm so excited about what the possibilities of what God, the doors He's going to open, and how He's going to bless me. But so I'm a perfectionist, and that I don't just take any role, and then I just don't do it for the money. I just want to keep doing it. My reward is when people. I heard Barbara Streisand say that about like award shows. Her reward is not winning an Oscar or winning a Golden Globes. It's when the people say, I really like that part you did. That's my reward and always been when people say, man, I really loved what you did in that part. And I'm like, man, that made me feel so good that somebody enjoyed it. And that's always gonna be my reward. But don't get me wrong, I love award shows. I watch them. I'm gonna watch the Oscars next week, and I hopefully can win one day. And I love to see other people winning because it encouraged me. And because I take everything I try to see everything to keep myself encouraged. Like, man, one day I'm gonna get one of those. If I do the work, you always got to do the work. You can't not do the work and think something just gonna fall into your lap. Sometimes it happens for people like that, but it rarely does. You got to do the work. But yeah, so the perfectionist, I think people don't know that about me and don't know that I always want to do the best. I want to be one of the best comedians on Def Jam. Wanted to have. You were. Yeah, thank you. Wanted to do, we grew up watching Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. I grew up watching Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, 48 Hours and Stir Crazy. I wanted, when you saw Rush Hour, that you go see it again and again like that, because I was raised with the best in the world, Richard, Eddie, and Robin Harris, and so many, Robin Williams, so many great comedians, so many great actors. Mr. Portier, I became friends with Sidney Portier. Mr. Harry Belafonte, I used to go to lunch with Mr. Portier in LA, and Mr. So many greats. So yeah.
So how old are you when you get your break, and how do you get your break? Are you like doing auditions? Are you in comedy clubs? Like how did you get discovered to be even in the 1 minute role at House Party?
Well, it was from Def Jam. It was
Def Jam.
It was kind of from Def Jam because I was doing comedy in high school. I started in high school, talent shows, and I was the class clown and all that stuff. And and I hosted talent show. I told my first joke, and I said, man, this is what I want to do. Everybody else said I'm going in the Army. I'm going to college. I'm like, I'm not going back to school. I'm barely getting out of high school. I got to figure this thing out. So I said, oh, this is it, comedy. People say I'm funny, and but of course, it's different being funny in a class than on a stage. So I said, but once I got that, God gave me that dream. He gave me that passion, and something that I knew that I could have fun doing, and I would love doing. I was already rich. It wasn't, the money, the cars, and the house. I never thought about that. It was a purpose, something. I didn't want to let my mama down. I didn't want to let my parents down. And I told them about my dream of being a stand-up comedy. I want to move to LA. They never said, no, you can't do that, and that ain't gonna happen. My mom never. She was happy I found something. Because she thought I was gonna be living with her forever. And I was I built her, a $4 million house. So we gotta stay together. But it's different. But that's your true worth. And I say that to all young comedians: when you find a passion and you something you enjoy doing, that's your wealth. That's your true wealth. And if you love that and continue to love it, everything else will happen after that. Money will come and material things will come, but you can't let go of that first passion of being great and wanting to do great work.
So when you first get, because now, cats will do $1 million. They'll do it online. They'll do 2 million. Then they'll blow it and they'll do all of that. Like, what was the first thing that you do when you first got like enough money to do what you had to do? So let me just tell my story. Got my first record deal at 22, fresh out of college. It was $250,000. Thought I was the richest man in the world. Went and brought some rims. I bought a big old chain and bought my mama a Cadillac because we black. Come on, somebody. Yeah. And I did all of that. Like, what's the first thing that you did when you first got your big break?
Yeah, I was, I always say that raw instinct when I was younger. I was like, I never really cared about a lot of material things. I bought my mom's a car like you did. Yeah. I bought a house. So I really wanted to do stuff for my mom's first, and I got me a truck or something like that because I just needed I needed a car to get to the comedy clubs because that was my wealth. So
you was working the comedy clubs.
Getting on that stage, working the comedy clubs in LA and getting on that stage, staying sharp because that was my happiness. Before all the other stuff, I really didn't care. And then of course, I did get, money came and then I bought other stuff. But the first thing I took care of my mom, so I bought her a house and a car.
Yeah. So as you look at the industry, like as you continue to move and you continue to grow, the myth has been like when a comic, finds Jesus, then it kind of dilutes the funny that they have. Like, do you feel like in terms of like your faith and knowing like, well, God wants me to do this, do you still feel the same freedom that you have on stage when you were younger?
Oh yeah, because he blessed me with everything. He opened those doors for me because, like I said, I didn't plan it. I didn't plan doing a movie with Ice Cube co-starring. And out of all the comedians that was already before me and after me, they choose me. That wasn't my doing. That was God's doing. Now I realize that. Back then, I was like, oh, I'm just, I'm the whatever. They need somebody new, and I'm the one to do it. But I believe it was God opening up those doors to allow me to be in that position to do those movies, and it was made for me to do that first Friday with everybody else that was in it, and that made it a classic. So
man, that's so good. So did your agents call, or did Ice Cube call and say, hey man, I want you to be a part of this role. This is the only role for you. I see it for you. Like, how did you get the call?
I was in the comedy clubs. Nobody called me. I was in a comedy club and I heard about the movie. Somebody said Paul Mooney and Ice Cube was doing a movie about smoking weed on a porch. Yeah. And I was like, man, I want to be in that movie. Shit, if I could just get a little part. I called my agent the next day. I said, man, can you give me an audition? Because I had just got an agent from House Party 3. Right. Because he saw me do a little part in House Party 3, and he ran backstage in the premiere and said, you got a agent? I said, no. And he gave me his card, and I gave it to my manager at the time, and he was my agent. That's how it happened. But then I called them. I called my agent and told him to get me an art. So if I wouldn't have been in the comedy club that night working, and, I wouldn't have probably heard about it. Somebody else would have probably auditioned. They would have picked them because I probably wouldn't have known about it. So you, as a young comic, you got to keep working, keep yourself in the mix, and you'll hear about something. And really, I had to tell my agent to get that audition, and then I had to execute to get the role. He was
like, go get it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, can I get a chance, to try out for this, part?
So will Chris do auditions now? It's like, you just got to call me and make it work.
If no, I don't have to, but if I really needed to prove that I could do it, that's easy for me to do that. But I don't really have to now, but because I'm proven that I can do certain roles and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't have no shame,
What would make you turn down a role? Listen, I know you're enjoying this episode. Shout out to everybody across the nation who's watching this. Nations upon nations. Let's just talk about it. Do me a favor, just real quick. Can you subscribe to this channel for your nephew? And while you at it, coming up next week, I get an opportunity to hang out with these amazing ladies. Check this out.
Get you a good community of friends that will surround you, that will give you wise counsel. Like, we are around each other. We protect this. We watch over this. And so you got to get you some good friends that you can talk to without blasting somebody on social media.
Because it's making you look bad.
It makes you look bad.
Y'all listen to me. I don't care how much they hurt you. Trying to hurt them back is doing nothing but making you look so bad. Go to therapy. Get a good mentor. Get a good mentor. I believe that God sends voices in your lives for certain seasons. Find that voice that speaks to you. You may never meet them, but they are every day in your ear telling you something that'll help you grow. So find peace. Go for peace.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't expect that, okay, I want to be this big leader. I want to be this great leader. I want to influence all these people, but you mismanaging your private life. Okay, I'm not following you nowhere.
Heck no.
Boom. That's coming up next week. Now back to the Chris Tucker Show. Flat out. What would make you turn down a role?
If it ain't
I'm sure
right,
you get a lot of offers.
If I can't be all the way 100% creative to make it right, to make it work, if that to me, that's not fun. It got to be fun to me at this point. And I know that my fans, hopefully they would enjoy it too, but I'm gonna do everything possible to make it the best possible. And I mean, I can make it work, but that will make me say no if I feel like if it's restricted in any kind of way of making it the best.
Because you're a perfectionist.
Because I'm a perfectionist, yeah.
Where'd you get perfection from? Like, mama?
That was just gift from God, I think. And I think some people, that was just a gift from God, I think. And probably, I got a lot of stuff from my mom's. A lot of stuff like style and clothes.
Because I seen mama at the
attitude.
Church. She had the hat on with the white and it was looking bright.
Yeah, I got all that from her.
Yeah. So perfection is always your thing. So then after Friday, you get this beautiful opportunity in probably one of the greatest movies of all time with Rush Hour with Jackie Chan.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
I mean, the way you were able to create that character, and it's exactly what you said. If the goal was to make people watch this series over and over again, it's exactly what it did. Mm-hmm. You at the pinnacle of your career, you get the call. So I have this idea, it's gonna be you and this Chinese dude, and it's called Rush Hour. What makes you say yes to this, and how is it presented to you? Because at this time, you could pretty much take any role you want, because you're at the peak and the height of who Chris Tucker is at that time. So what made you say, I'll take this one? Because this was totally away from what we, the Fridays and all that other stuff.
Well, yeah, I was a big fan of Jackie Chan. I mean, he was like, I was like, man, this would be great, because I could do comedy and he's gonna do the martial arts and that's all that would just be cool, But once again, Fridays opened up the door for Rush Hour because I was just like, let me do a great job in this and make this work. And then it was the same company, New Line Cinema. And they had some deals and stuff with Jackie that they wanted to do another American movie with Jackie, and they did Fridays with me, and we were looking for something else, and we told them we were looking for something else, and they said, well, we got Jackie Chan, and I was like, that'd be cool. You got this movie Rush Hour, let's do it. I love Jackie Chan. I'm a fan of Jackie Chan. He was iconic back then, with Rumble in the Bronx and all this stuff. I had all that stuff on Laserdisc. I used to watch Jackie Chan. The big Laserdisc in my crib in LA. I used to sit there just watch Jackie Chan, not even knowing that I'm gonna do a movie with him. And that's God. That's the thing of just God, and it worked. The chemistry was great. Jackie was so nice and so kind and I felt so comfortable around him that I could say whatever I want to say, and he didn't have an attitude, and he was humble as a dove, and I was the same way with him because he knew I looked up to him because he was already Jackie Chan. So and it just worked, man. The chemistry worked, and it was just and all three of them. We did three of them, and they all been fun,
Yeah. So I see, so what I've learned so far is that each step created a new step and then another step. When I look back at people's careers and I look at legacy, I see that it's step by step. And so many people want to just take the elevator and just get to the top. Even if it means that they're going to stand on somebody, crush somebody, say the mean things, do whatever. I'm sure in this climate of comedy beef, there's always somebody who has different things to say. You've been in comedy for a very, very long time. What's the proper way to handle differences as it pertains to comedians maybe having issues or what have you, versus kind of the 2024 culture? Are we just gonna blast everybody and tell all of our secrets and try to tarnish people's names? Like, what was the old school way when Richard Pryor had a little something with Eddie Murphy? Like, what do you think could be the proper way to bridge a gap between then and now?
Well, first of all, comedians, we all it is a brotherhood. We all. Reason why I was good in Fridays was because going to the comedy clubs every night, watching so many comics, because we all helped each other pick up each other's game. We all helped each other because everybody was funny at the Comedy Act Theater here in Atlanta. When it was open in the 90s, in LA, Comedy Act Theater. When I moved to LA, I went to the Comedy Act Theater out there. Everybody was funny, so you had to pick up your game, and it took you to another level. It was almost like when Michael and Prince was doing their thing. They picked each other's,
up to another level.
Yeah, up to another level because they were just so good and so creative. Michael did Thriller, and Prince, he did Purple Rain.
Yeah.
He did Purple Rain, and Michael, I'm pretty sure Michael said, oh, that was good.
Yeah, that was a movie.
That was off the chain.
Yeah.
So we all intertwined and we all helped each other. When I did Fridays, I represented every comedian that came before me and every comedian that was my peer and in my generation, because I watched them all on stage, and I had to go up behind them, and I had to make sure I was good, just as good. And sometimes they will get me, and sometimes I will get them. But we learned from each other, and we helped each other because we all wanted to be good and we all wanted to be great. So I would never go against another comedian because I know that everything I am is because of them, and it's a brotherhood. It really is a brotherhood because the comedians that came before me, like D.L. Hughley and a little bit before me, Jamie Foxx, Joe Torre, those guys.
So you would see them,
Ricky Harris. They used to come down to Atlanta to the Comedy Act Theater, and it was like, man, Rex Garvin and different people. Chris used to host the Comedy Act. All these guys was a little bit before me. Ernest J. They was just those guys. They was like I looked up to those guys. So everything I am is because of them. And then of course the legends and the greats like Eddie Murphy, Damon Wayans, and Richard Pryor, and Robin Harris, and so many others. So we all you can't be great if you don't respect all the comedians and everything that they do, because everybody got a little something that's good. And you look at that and you say, man, you studied that and say, man, I need to work on what they're doing because that's good. But who you are, better yourself. Don't try to be like anybody else. But it's you got to keep it a brotherhood and learn from each other. And that's how you get great. You don't get great picking at somebody and saying, oh, he ain't this, he ain't that. Nah, because one day he's going to be funnier than you. The next day you're going to probably be funnier than him. But it ain't about that. It's about everybody's. If everybody's on the show together, 5 comedians, you want everybody to hit hard and make it a great night for the audience, not just you be funny and then everybody else like, man, that show was all right, but the one comedian was funny. No, we want it back when I came up and when I'm coming up. We want everybody to be hot. So everybody to go out the door, bent over, laugh and talk about, man, y'all crazy. Right. And then we won. Yeah. So I say that to say, Fridays, for an example, everybody was funny in the first Friday. Everybody was good. It wasn't just me. It was everybody that made Fridays a classic. Yeah. So I'll never take credit for something when, and thank God they were good. And I wasn't just the one just good. Yeah. Thank God they was on point. They was ready. Yeah. And I was ready. And that's the movies I like to be in, when everybody comes with their A game and make it a classic. So I say that to say, that stuff that ain't the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, I appreciate what he does. I'm going to learn from what he does. And I'm going to keep this comedy thing going and have fun with it.
So this whole Friday thing, like everybody was like begging, like, can Chris Tucker do Friday too? And can we just kind of get another one? And then you got DC Young Fly, who's our brother. We love him to life. Yeah, he's just always like, Chris said I can do it if we do it, this, that, and other. Will there ever be a Friday too? Is that something that you would ever consider?
What?
Well, Friday with you in it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It had to be really, really, really something that just come together good.
Right. Because you're a perfectionist.
Well, I wanted, like I said, I'm a perfectionist. Yeah, I got to say that. But like when I did the first Fridays, back then I was like, I just want to do a good job on the movie and then move on to the next thing. Back then, that's how I was. It wasn't about money. It was just kill it and then move on to the next thing. So people always ask me why you didn't do Fridays too. It wasn't because they didn't pay me enough. I didn't care about no money. I was making way more money on the road because I did Def Jam. I was touring, making plenty of money on the road. So that they didn't even have to pay me nothing for the movie. I just wanted the opportunity. So it's always, I joke about that so people could take it out of context, but it's never about that. And it was always about going to, do the next thing. And that was Money Talks.
More Love You More podcast after this.
Hey family, Willie Moore Jr. I want to show love to this episode's sponsor, the Praise Mixdown. Shout out to my brother Dwight Stone. He is on the Willie Moore Jr. show as well as the Ricky Smiley show and so many other shows. I want to make sure that you follow the Praise Mixdown at Dwight Stone, okay? He's one heck of a DJ. He's been doing a lot of great work across the country. So to all my churches out there, if you're looking for that kingdom DJ who can really turn up, love God, but still got a whole lot of turn up to him, make sure you follow at Dwight Stone. Shout out to the Praise Mixdown, our title sponsor for this particular episode. Flat out.
Love you more.
It was always about going to, do the next thing. And that was Money Talks. Get something together and it's fun and it makes sense and all that stuff. I never not look at it and talk with whoever I have to talk to about it. So, and then I would love for them to keep it going because they did 2 more after that. And like somebody like DC Young Fly, these young comedians that's really funny, they could take it on and keep it going because that only makes everybody look good if this franchise Fridays could keep going. So it's good.
So these new comics, I know DC is a part of because my other interview we were talking about people serving others and giving them the game and the business of what it is. I know you pour into a lot of the young comedians. Are there any young comedians that you look at right now and say to yourself, he or she, they have it? like that's it. Is it anybody that sticks out to you right now with this new generation?
You know, I'm not out there like that in the clubs, but I'm pretty sure they out there. They out there. I think DC got something good, and I think it's a lot of other ones, a lot of other people. But they just got to keep working at it and keep studying and keep learning and stay in the comedy clubs and keep working on their craft, because that's what I did. I kept my head down, just like in school when I found out what I wanted to do, everybody was playing around, joking. I said, no, I'm going after this comedy thing. I ain't let nobody know what I'm going to do because they're going to discourage me. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm hosting a talent show. They thought I was just messing around, but I was about to, as soon as I graduated, Comedy Act Theater opened up right here in Atlanta. Wow. And, that was God, like how 1990. And then I graduate, then the comedy clubs will open up, so that was nothing that my doing. So, yeah, I just say if they keep going and use it all, like we used Def Jam when we came up. Now it's people doing a lot of stuff online, Instagram and all this stuff. But do it all. TV, television, movies. Do it all. I like this new avenue, the way people are coming up and becoming comedians. Yeah. Because we had Def Jam. Now they have this. So they can film their own movie on these cameras. Do it. Do it all.
So you from the ATL, like ATL.
Decatur. I'm from Decatur, where it's greater.
You from the deck, bro.
Went to Columbia High School. I'm really from here, man.
You're really from here.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I hear you speak, it's like you've had so many life experiences. Yeah. One experience that always put me at awe, because you two were like the best of friends, is Michael Jackson. So you ended up meeting Michael Jackson from Decatur. Like, did he see you on Def Jam too? Like, how did he call Chris Tucker out of all the people? Like, you from the deck, Columbia High School. Yeah. And that's Michael Jackson, which is your friend now. Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's Mike. But do you know how, like, oh my God, that is? Like, what was that call like?
Man, it was crazy. Man, I felt the same way. Like, man, how in the world this happened? Because everything you'll see in a lot of my movies, I did do something about Michael, because he's part of the culture. We grew up watching Michael Jackson, Prince, and so many others. But man, it was so first Def Jam, I did a bit about Michael Jackson. What if he was a pimp? Yeah. And that came from, the Mac movie. We used to watch the Mac movie. We ain't supposed to, but we was growing up watching it, and it was just so real. And I was like, man, this is a great movie. And then for stand-up, I just switched it and said, what if Michael was a pimp, Yeah. And that was the first thing. And in every other one of my movies, I see it now. I'm like, man, I did something about Mike. So I think it's a spiritual connection of some kind of way. But man, the first call, we talked, and Michael was in New York. I was doing Rush Hour 2 in Las Vegas. Michael was in New York working on his new album. Mm-hmm. And Michael, a mutual friend, connected us. And I said, Mike, I want to meet you, man. I'm a big fan. He said, I want to meet you too. He said, when you finish your movie, come, we could meet. I said, all right. And so I finished the movie, and I called him up. I had his number. I said, Michael, I'm done with the movie, man. And he was in New York working on his album. I said, I'm coming to New York, so I want to see it. Man, that time I was flying in big jets, private jets, because I thought the bigger the plane, it won't crash. If it's big, it's a big plane. Okay, so, cool. But I was spending a grip of money. Yeah. So I flew all the way to New York for something else, and then I called Michael because I wanted to see Michael too. So it was perfect. So and I'm on this G5 jet, and I'm down, and I land, and I call Michael the whole time, and nobody answered. I just leave a message, Michael, I'm in New York, man. I want to meet you if you're here. Never heard from him. Finished what I was doing, flew back, took that same big jet, G5 jet, back to LA, all the way to LA.
Back to LA.
Landed on the tarmac. As soon as I land on the tarmac, what you do? You check your phone. So I checked my phone, and I got a message from Michael Jackson. He said, Michael, Mr. Jackson want to meet you tomorrow in New York. I said, oh my God, I just flew back to LA. So I got up out of my seat in this private plane, G5 jet, walked up to the front to the captain, said, take me back to New York. He said, what? I said, take me back to New York. He said, you serious? I said, yeah, call the office. They got my credit card. Just take me back. I didn't care how much it cost. I wanted to see Michael Jackson. They flew me back to New York. That bill was so high, man, but I didn't care. I met with Michael that next morning. Mm-hmm. We became friends, stayed in touch ever since then. And it was worth all that money I spent on that private plane to meet Michael for the first time.
Man.
Yep. It was a trip from New York to LA and back from LA to New York from LA. I was on the plane.
I probably did the same thing.
Oh man, hey, I'm glad I did.
It's like
it was worth it.
It was worth it. Like that's Michael Jackson from Decatur, Georgia.
Yeah, man.
So let me just say this: to see you now, out on stage doing your thing, that's such a freedom. I got a chance to see your Netflix special. It's such a new freedom and enjoyment. It's like the child in you seems to just come out every time you hit that stage. I do got to ask you this, like, how does Chris now warm up? Because it's such a fan frenzy if you go to the comedy club. Do you still like kind of sneak into the New York clubs, the LA clubs? Like, how do you get ready and revved up to hit that stage now?
Yeah, I got to get in the club like everybody else. You know, LA, I was just in LA, going into the clubs and stuff and sneaking around the cameras to do my stuff to get ready. And so I'm getting into the clubs and working it out, man, and to get ready for the show. Yeah, and it's been great, man. Been on this Chris Tucker the Legend tour.
I love it.
We done like I don't know how many shows we did. 34, 36 some shows. Yeah. And man, it's just so much fun, man. So much freedom, man. It reminds me when I first did host the talent shows in high school. Yeah. You know, coming up with stuff, you know, off the cuff and just writing stuff and talking about my life now and back then. It's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Listen, to see you now and just having so much fun with what you're doing, because now it's like, hey, I'm just out here having a really, really great time. Yeah. Man, it does my heart well. Every time I see you, I see favor. Like to hear your story on this level, to be able to know, like, what I've taken from it is that on every step, God's hand has been on your life. Yes. You've moved with integrity, so you've created some amazing relationships with people who of influence. Yeah. And like, I don't think people really understand that you come from Decatur, Columbia High School. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of great people who've not come out of Columbia, shout out to Future and so many others, but you were one of the first to do that. And I think that needs to be applauded a whole lot more, because there's so many young kids in African-American communities who don't necessarily know that the great start can be the great start exactly where you are. Yeah. And that part, I really, really do appreciate it. Listen, I just want to talk to this camera real quick. You know, I always like to get into like everybody's story, and I like to dig like deep, because sometimes we see the glory, but we don't necessarily understand everybody's story. You know, maybe you're an aspiring business owner, maybe you want a family, whatever that thing may be. I just want to let you know that it happens brick by brick, step by step. It's not an elevator run. I believe if it happens fast, it's just not gonna last. But if it starts slow, then it can grow, right? So maybe right now your life may look like it's very, very slow, and you may not think that it can grow. But if you look at the life of Chris Tucker, here he is doing talent shows at Columbia High School. Everybody else is laughing and joking, but he has this thing in his heart that says, I know where I want to go. I'm not going to share it with nobody, because they may attempt to talk me out of it, not because they want to, but because they've never seen anybody in the world do it. And he decided he's going to do it from there. That lands him a new opportunity in comedy clubs, and that lands him at Def Comedy Jam. And Def Comedy Jam gets him an opportunity to speak to Michael Jackson. And from Michael Jackson, he ends up being on Friday. And from Friday, he ends up being Money Talk. Can you see the maturation of the brand? I don't know what chapter you are in your life, but I do understand this, that if you can learn to look back at the hands and the footprints of God being on your life, not just focusing on the negative parts that didn't work out, because I believe we all need a little dirt to grow, baby. Come on, somebody. But what I want you to do is start looking at the empirical data that God's hand is on my life. And if you can see that, the next faith step will be done in boldness, because the Bible declares that the righteous can be bold as a lion. How do we be bold? By looking back at what God has already done in our lives. Listen, I understand that none of us are perfect. And if I can be honest, I'm just a dude from the neighborhood, Berkeley, Missouri, median income, $17,000. And this is a moment in time where I literally get a chance to sit across from my brother, who I just call Chris, but it's Chris Tucker, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. And I look back at the hands of God when I was doing interviews in that little bitty office, praying that the Lord would allow me to take this flip camera all the way to Hollywood, when I was doing a microphone in a closet with a radio show, when I was sitting do talent shows, and now the Lord is blessed in this moment. Would you take the time in this moment to maybe look back at some of the great things that God has done? And here's the thing, we can look at our past, but it predicates how far we're going to go in our future if we show that gratefulness. I want you to do 3 things for me before we end this broadcast, right? I want you to find 3 things that you're grateful for, that you can say, God, you did that for me. And I want you to put that in the chat, because I'm going to go back and watch 3 things that you can say, I'm grateful for this. God, you did that for me. And then the second thing I want you to do is I want you to write right now what you're grateful for. Like, God, I appreciate that I got some toilet paper in there. Whatever it is, I got edges on the side, and I'm just glad that my edges on the right is a little thicker. Like, whatever it is, I just want you to be grateful. And then finally, I want you to know where you're going, and I want you to get laser focused. My brother knows where he's going, and he's coming to a city near you. So I want to make sure that wherever you see my brother, Chris Tucker, that you buy those tickets, you get your butt in the seat, and you be prepared to smile and laugh like you've never done before, because when you see him, you see victory. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Flat out. Wow, what an amazing show. Shout out to my dear brother, Chris Tucker. And I want to show love to all of the people who have been in my inbox lately asking to sponsor a show. Initially, I was a little, like, I don't know if I want to do that. But here's the thing. I understand that there are so many ministries who need this platform to expand their brand. So many businesses who need this platform to expand their brand. And who am I not to give you an opportunity? So here's the thing. If you want to be a part of sponsoring one of these Love You More shows that will give you a commercial in the show, why don't you go ahead and do me a favor? All you got to do is email me, Willie Moore Jr, the number 1 at gmail.com, Willie Moore Jr 1 at gmail.com, and I will take a look at what you are doing in hopes that we can maybe allow you to be a sponsor of this amazing show. All right. Also, there's a beautiful opportunity for you to click the link in the description and become a part of our Patreon community, where you'll hear all of the great questions that we have and great guests that we have coming up. And you'll also get a beautiful opportunity to ask questions to the guests while we are taping. So you'll help me out, get that thing together. So do me a favor, click the little link down there in the details of this particular video and become a part of that Patreon community. Can you do it? I know you can. Flat out.
Love you more, love you